So welcome. Let's do a little practice, a little review practice of what we've done so far, including this centering, purifying breathing with sound and color. At the beginning of the practice, always arrive to the present moment. Always bring your attention to the awareness of being, which is it's the essence of all practices. So you are here, and you just either at once just become aware of your sense of awareness, of your sense of I-ness, or you do it gradually as we do, like where you start just engaging the eyes, just looking around without conceptualizing, without really interpreting what you're seeing. It's just like the eyes are very relaxed and they notice the objects, they notice the colors, they notice the shapes. And they gradually start noticing that even objects being so many and being so seemingly independent, it's almost like just one cohesive unit. And then the same thing happens with the eyes, with the ears. So if there's any sounds or there's any sensations, and this just sensation, this awareness of being present and being aware of the world, and not so much through the mind that is always interpreting and always like looking for something to say. You're always like analyzing and preparing for the next thing. This is a very simple, is what we call sometimes the teachers, the great teachers, call it naked awareness. It's an awareness that is simply perceiving. It's not chasing the past. It's not anticipating the future. It's not analyzing the present. It's like an awareness that is just very simple, very relaxed, very at ease. It's like an awareness that is just being. And this is really the essential ingredient for all the practices. This type of awareness at the beginning of our practice, at the beginning of everything we do, it really okay, don't worry, we'll figure that out. I mean, don't worry, it's not so important right now. I'll find the link. The important thing now is this just becoming aware of this awareness. There is the awareness that is behind the ears, the awareness that is behind the eyes, the awareness that is behind the nose. Okay. It's not exactly like that, but just to give you an image, imagine like your senses are perceiving the world, are broadcasting the world, and in the center of all that, there's awareness itself. Sometimes we call it the goddess of awareness. So you come to rest in that experience of being that is free. It's free of grasping, is free of attaching to whatever it perceives. It's not ignoring, or it's not pushing things away, or it's not like negating, it's just not attached. It doesn't get involved. One of the beautiful things about these practices that we do and the way in which they are presented sequentially is like the goal. So the end result is the path itself. It's the practice and it's the way in which we interpret. Today one of the topics as we approach the end of our sessions is obviously the considering death. And it said having death as an advisor. The beauty of death, it's like, we are all touched by death through our relationships, some closer, some further, and through our personal life, through our personal existence. So it's something that is unavoidable. And at the same time, it's so interesting because even though while there's death and everything dies, that only corresponds to the more superficial aspects, of our experience. Once we start going deeper into the experience of who we are, at the same time, it's very interesting that while we can use and we must use death as a constant reminder and as a constant tool, to help us behave in a way that is efficient from the point of view of practitioners, at the same time, there's no death, because our being is consciousness itself. So that's the view. That's how we understand this whole process of being. It has this relative aspect, which we've talked about many times, which is the relative aspect of the worldly things that seem to come and go and seem to be born and then die, seem to appear and disappear. It's like you're eating a plate of pasta. You made your pasta very nicely, and the pasta is there, and suddenly the pasta is not there. Where did the pasta go? Okay, so you think, oh, it's in my stomach. So everything is in a constant process of transformation. This is obvious. We all know this, and you say, well, what's he being annoying with this? Yet most of us don't live this way. Okay, most of us live clinging to every single interaction, to every single relationship, to everything as being completely solid and completely real. And it is not that it's not unreal and it is not solid, but that's just a superficial layer. Okay, it would be like saying that the ocean is only the waves, or the ocean is only the shore, or the ocean is only the whatever. But we know that the ocean is the whole thing. And the deeper you go into the ocean, for those of you who have ever done scuba diving, I've never done scuba diving just with my snorkel, but I watched documentaries of scuba diving. And it seems obvious that the deeper you go, like the things are constantly changing. So if you could have gained anything of these, close to 9 months that we've been practicing together now in this context, one of the best things would be this realization that there's this awareness that is constantly present, that is pristine, that is like pure water, that like a pure crystal, sometimes we compare it to the open sky, where everything else is happening. You have this open space where everything else is happening, and yet at the same time, the sky, the space is always open, always relaxed. So that's at the beginning of the practice, okay? And we've spent a few minutes going over this now, but it's just a moment, it's just a sensation. And this is the essential practice. This is the most fundamental practice of all practices we do. All the other practices we do, they're very useful for the physical body, for the mind, for the emotions, and they are necessary because our mind often cannot directly connect with our natural state. So this is why we do all these other practices, and especially the practice of awakening love in one's heart. Because through awakening love in one's heart, we connect with we dispel. We connect with this ability to dispel the clouds that cover the sky. So bring the attention to the present moment, or keep your attention in the present moment in just awareness of being, and then bring to mind the personal reason, or the personal reasons, whatever it is that brings you to practice here. It's so important to keep a direction, otherwise it's just like getting in your car, pressing the gas and just letting go of the wheel and say, okay, take me somewhere, and or now Netflix has this thing, it says watch something or something. I connect to Netflix the other day, I was gonna look for a movie excuse me, and it says press this button and I'll show you something, and out of curiosity I press, and I didn't like it so much. I said I better choose something myself. So this is very, very essential. So what is it that is in your heart that is bringing you here, to sit in this moment, to consider these practices? It has to be something meaningful for you. It has to be something beautiful, something that inspires you. Because this is the beauty of this whole process. When we talk about this consciousness, or being consciousness, or in consciousness by nature being naked, being unconceptual, being just pure with no characteristics, that's an aspect of consciousness. But the other aspect of consciousness is the will of consciousness to manifest, to create. So many of you are into arts, and this is the beauty of things. So we are always moving in this interplay of this consciousness of being, this infinite, boundless awareness that has the potential to create, the potential to manifest, the potential to relate. So what is it that is in your heart? And then how does that relate to how you relate to others? So in the suggestion is always the same. It's like in our heart, we activate this profound desire that all sentient beings are very well and happy. So we have this statement here. It says, I'm going to practice healing meditation to benefit both myself and all other sentient beings without exception. May my practice generate an infinite ripple of healing, well-being, and awakening across all time and space. May the illnesses of all beings be healed, and may they never occur again. The main illness is not cancer or or heart disease or COVID. The main illness is ignorance from the realization that the ocean is not just the waves, that the sky is not the clouds. So may the illnesses of all beings, may the fundamental illness of beings, of being unaware of our essence, may it be healed and may it never occur again. May my practice bring joy and clarity to all beings, helping all of us become aware of our perfect essence. May we have the courage to recognize this imperfect essence within everybody and everything. May this recognition awaken healing, joy, peace, and love within each of us throughout all of existence. So then we take a moment to reflect. The preliminaries are so important, like the preliminaries, like anything that goes at the beginning, it's like the key for your house. You would say, oh, my house is so big and the key is so little, like it should not matter so much, but if you don't have the key, you cannot get in. I mean, you could break a window, I guess, but still, it would not be so graceful. So the preliminaries, which is you arrive, and then you say, oh, I'm here and I have this beautiful consciousness, this infinite consciousness that has embodied in this beautiful physical body, in this beautiful dimension of changes. So I feel like acting, I want to do something. So the prayer is, may I engage in the world remembering that I'm the sky. And may I bring that same quality of boundless being to all sentient beings, anybody who comes in contact with me. And then where is it that we keep that, the essence of that key, the essence of these preliminary practices? It's in the central channel. Okay. So then we and do the alternating nostril breathing at your own pace. So three times each side, blocking the right, inhaling through the left. Slow, take your time. Every single breath so important. Every single breath is the breath. Relishing breath. When we practice with this awareness of being, with the motivation of being of benefit to all beings, our practice becomes a very, very a tremendous source of virtue. Every breath becomes a source of virtue, a source of positive qualities that will help us awaken wisdom. At your own pace, switch sides. So you can think of these practices of this breath as, in the example with the ocean, like you're in the up and you're seeing the waves and somebody's telling you down is really beautiful or inside is very beautiful. There's this beautiful, all these treasures and all these beautiful colors and all this beautiful experience of being. So each of these practices, each of these breaths, it's almost like, the oxygen and the scuba diving equipment and everything is like it's just giving you more and more potential to go deeper and finer and finer and finer. So every breath counts. Inhale into the brain. And then up through the center. And out the crown. And as the breath exits the crown and reaches this beautiful sphere of light that is above the head, like when we do the healing smile, when the next breath comes in, it's just this beautiful shower of healing light that first surrounds you, and then showers on your surface and then fills you in. So at your own pace, do two more. So beautifully surrounded by this healing light, and then this healing light showering on your surface. And then the third breath, inhale into the brain, down into the abdomen, and exhaling through the center of the body, cleansing the central channel and out the head. And then this beautiful light that showers back, filling up your whole body with this exquisite healing light. This is a condensed way in which we do the healing smile. So naturally, even in just these few minutes, I don't know how you feel, but I can tell you, like, personally, just after a few minutes of just observing the breath and doing this beautiful healing smile, just the body feels so nice, so vibrant. There's this sense of well-being. And the thing with this well-being is, like, this is not something that, it might seem that is something that we are creating. Say, oh, I'm making this up. But actually that's a characteristic of our being. Like, in the same way, you know, water is wet and fire is hot, and you know, jalapeno peppers are spicy, some of them are not so. Like, the nature of our being is bliss. So then we do the 5-element mantra again, to keep refining. Every step is to keep refining. Om Yes, I'll start in the head. If you want to do the colors, it's white, red, blue, and then in the central of the body, just a rainbow. Okay? The purpose of this mantra is to harmonize the inner elements and to harmonize the outer elements, to generate a ripple of well-being through the world, through the universe, a ripple of healing. So again, Sorry, somebody said that the music was a bit too loud. I cannot hear, so thank you. The important thing when you do the mantra is that you actually feel the vibration in the place, you know? So when we do the Om, we feel it there in the center of the head. When you do the ah, you feel it in the center of the throat. When you do the hum, you feel it in the center of the chest. And then the other sounds you feel just throughout the body from the central channel. Let's do once more. The end of the mantra, the Shuddha, purifies means harmonizes, removes the abstractions, the obstacles. And therefore what is left is just this sensation of openness again, as we were practicing at the beginning. This, you can think of it as, if it helps you, like naked awareness, awareness that is without adding, or awareness without additions, just a sensation of being that is free. Things stay around, like nothing is going to disappear. But it's a very distinct experience of awareness stuck through the objects, through the senses into the objects, or awareness in a state of just being at ease. You're aware of everything, and at the same time the senses are free and open. So in between practices, in between segments of the practice, it's like when you have a rosary, when you have a mala. So you have a beat, and a beat, and a beat, and then they have a string, okay? Tam makes these beautiful bracelets, and she knows very well. So there's the beats, and then there's a string that holds the beats, okay? So the beats are our perceptions of the world, the objects that are there, whatever is around. Each of those is a beat, every experience. But what threads, what connects everything is this underlying ocean, this underlying sky. So the ultimate practice is just not to have to do anything and just be able to constantly abide in the thread, while you're aware of the beats, that's the ultimate practice. But I don't know you, but I'm not there yet. So the practices, so we remember, we think, state of open awareness, just awareness of being. So we do that just for a moment. It's fresh, it's just a few seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, whatever it is, gradually you increase more and more. And then you do a practice that is more organized, like the motivation, and then you connect again with this experience of being that is free. And then you do the breathing, and within the breathing also you do small segments, in between breaths. There's a moment where the breath is resting, you connect with awareness of being, you're the sky. And then thoughts come, and sensations come, and so they cover the sky. So you polish the sky again, and you do the 5-element mantra, for example. And through the mantra, you start clearing the sky, and then there's this sense of openness again. And then naturally it gets covered. So this is how we practice. This is a very good way to practice, combining both the relative practices and the more absolute, the wider scope practices. practice is not just about concentration. Concentration is just like an aspect to then just let it be. So the centering and purifying breathing with sound and color. Okay. So start on the left foot, start inhaling, bringing the breath up into the head, and then exhaling down the right side. And then inhaling again up the right side, and exhaling down on the left side. And somebody, I think it was Gazala, somebody the other day when I was asking about, the sound of the breath, and she mentioned like the ocean waves. It sounds like listening to the ocean. Yeah? And so this is exactly what is happening here. The ocean is a perfect example. So there's a rhythmic coming of a breath. It's like a wave. It rests for a moment, and then it goes. And then it comes in for a moment, and then it goes. The beauty of this here is just not listening. I mean, we're listening, but we're also aware of the dynamism of the breath moving through the body, ascending and descending. And this is like doing the dishes. I personally love to do the dishes because it's very, very concrete, So, when there's a few dishes, if there's too many, I probably put them in the dishwasher. But if there's just a few, and it's just so nice to do the dishes because you're polishing, and the water and the soap, and you're just polishing, And no matter how stuck something it is, if you let it sit long enough, it will go, So this is the breath. The breath, you're inhaling the breath, and it's going through the channels, and you don't have to do really anything. You're just bringing the breath in, and there's that micro vibration of the breath, and then exhaling. And this is polishing, this is cleansing, this is opening up flow in a very, very gentle way. It's gentle because it's aware that there's really not so much to do. Basically, we're already perfectly and completely awakened, all of us. It's just a matter of just cleaning a little bit the clouds, cleaning a little bit the mirror. It's not so much that we have to clean, that there's so much to clean. It's more that there's a tendency to be distracted. So it's not so much that we are doing who we are, it's undoing who we are not. So just the breath comes in, and then the breath goes out. Now, you could do this just like this. If you add some color, or you add the sound, let's add the sound first. I think it's easier to add the sound first. You could just do this practice like this, or you could add the different ingredients. If you want to work on the ingredients, it's something you're going to have to dedicate some time. This is not something that, in a minute it will be done. So the left side of the body, it is said to be the female or the lunar side. Within this system, there's different systems. So in this system, this is how it is, okay? Well, even within this system, there's differences, but in this practice, it's like this. So as we ascend, we're gonna hear internally the sound shrim. Okay, this is here in this in Healing Now in page 141. Using these bija sounds, these syllable sounds, is something that is truly exquisite. So I really encourage everybody to dedicate some time, for the next 2-3 months, whatever, 6 months, to really get to know these sounds, to get to know this vibration of these sounds, because they are the goddess itself. They are the embodiment of the Universal Mother itself. Imagine like if before they actually invented those USB keys, for example, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, somebody in the Middle Ages, they give you one of those little keys, and they tell you, here is basically the whole information in the whole universe contained in this thing. There's infinite million of movies, whatever it is, And you say, that's impossible. How is it going to fit all here? So these practices are in essence tantric practices. This is what they do. Like they take a beat, you know, and everything is contained within that beat. Now you need you need a machine, you know, where you put it, and you need a program, and you need to have some basic understanding of what to do, you know. But then naturally, what is in there, it just naturally reveals, you know, and you just need to be aware and to be present and watch it, you know. So this is what we do with the bija sounds, like these syllable sounds. So you hear shrim, shrim, and then hrim, the other side, which even within being a Shakti, a female syllable is more like the sun aspect. So one is the moon aspect, the other one is the sun aspect. So imagine when these two syllables combine, these two polarities, it's like these two lovers that really, really love each other, that really, really like each other, and that are eager for union, you know. And then the rest is history. I don't have to give you details, okay? It's just this beautiful experience. So you are inhaling shrim and exhaling. And then you're again inhaling hrim through the right and exhaling shrim through the left. So at your own pace. Up the left, shrim, inhaling, and down the right. So the sounds stay, the right is always hrim, the left is always shrim. So you can do a couple of minutes at your own pace. If you don't remember or it's too confusing or something, just feel the breath ascending and descending, whatever is easier. But a little effort goes a long way, so better remember. So if you feel like, this is easy now for you, you can start adding the colors. So when the shrimp comes up the left side, it's this beautiful blue light that is ascending. And as you descend the right side, is this beautiful golden red that descends with the hrim. And then you inhale hrim up, and you descend shrim. All this is in the chart, so if this is confusing now, just do whatever you can. But it should not be so complicated either. I mean, it's two sounds and two colors. Okay, if you can drive a car, you can visualize hrim ascending red, and then shrim descending blue. At some point, what might start happening, or what happens, is like the the channels, the lateral channels, with the vibration of the breath, of the sound, and the color, um, are starting to mingle in a way that they are starting to almost to pull into each other, like to attract each other into the center. So then you can be a bit playful, and you can, kind of almost hold them apart a little bit longer so the polarity increases. You can just naturally let them rest and mix towards the center. And this part is not in the book. I mentioned the other day I didn't want to extend this practice too much, make it more confusing, but since we're live here, so the red and the blue, the sounds come to the center. Simply the breaths come to the center. And from the perineum, or from behind from the lower abdomen, the breath inhales. As you inhale, the breath goes up to the center of the head. And as you exhale, the breath goes down, back to the lower abdomen through the center of the body. Here, the sound that we hear, in this case, we use the sound at the beginning, the sound of Mother Sarasvati, Aing. So you inhale, Aing, and exhale, Aing. Or simply you could just observe the breath, whatever you prefer. Mother Sarasvati, in this case, the goddess Sarasvati is the mother of wisdom. Is similar to the Prajna Paramita of the Buddhists, the mother of the transcendental wisdom. It's very beautiful. She's very pretty, and she's holding this book, which represents the summary of all of everything that is to be known. And at the same time, she's holding a bina, like a musical instrument, in which through her knowledge she plays this beautiful instrument, manifesting the universe. So our breath continues going deeper and deeper into the central channel. Until at some point the breath seems to stop. So there's no ascending or descending. There's just this experience of being. This is called the breath abiding in the center. So you might still keep breathing, but the sensation is that the dynamism that we have been engaging is just at rest. Your mind free of the waves, your mind free of the idea of the ocean. Fully aware, yet at rest. And you can hold these for a minute, for 5 minutes, for whatever long feels appropriate. But as soon as maybe thought starts again, so you can just again go back to this being you, but with this idea of also being what holds the ocean, being what holds the sky. And then rub your hands. And rub your face. Both directions. And the eyes. And behind the neck. And then tap the chest and the arms. And rubbing the back and tapping the legs. And then at the end of the practice, being like awake and aware, we always dedicate the merit of our practice. So by the merit of having practiced healing meditation for the benefit of myself and all other beings, may all beings without exception be well and happy. May there be peace in all lands, prosperity in all households, and joy in all hearts across all time and space. And may all the motivation prayers made for the well-being of beings become a reality. And with this profound certainty, wow, this is beautiful. The practices are very personal, but what I can tell you for me and for my teachers, for the practitioners that I try to model myself after, people that I feel have some realization. The practices and the teachings are the most precious of all jewels, the most precious of all treasures, because if it was not for these things, I would have no idea how to relate to others in a loving way. I would have no idea how to relate to myself in a loving way. I would just be stumping from here to there, stumping. I don't know how you say it. We like it. So when we practice, we're sitting there, and there's a sense of profound delight. And practice can be very difficult because you have to take time off, and even if it's 30 minutes, sometimes, or 1 hour, sometimes it feels like you have other things to do. But this is such a treasure. This is such a treasure. So at the end of the practice, we relish and we make this aspiration. May all beings benefit from this, and may all beings come to connect with a lineage of practices that is worthy to be practiced. Wonderful. So that's a practice.